My job is to welcome you all and then feed you afterward. Hopefully with some good, delicious food. But in between that, we're going to have 1 or 2 speeches. And I'm sure we are all aware when we are here tonight to celebrate one of my very good friends' achievements. You know, in Bengali, in Bangladesh, people say in the home, the word I'll say it in Bengali and then I'll explain in English, is that Ustader Ijjat Faina Nijor Koro, which means the celebrity or the star never gets the recognition at home or with their closest friend or get the respect. I've known Padmesh for a number of years and I'm extremely proud to now say he is my very, very good friend, especially after achieving such an excellent goal. And when I'm next to him, I feel like 10 foot tall. And I suppose it doesn't take a lot of imagination if I do stand next to him, why I would feel 10 feet tall. Sorry. But beside the jokes and the heights, and we want to get a bit more serious into the evening. And to say, you know, I've known him for a number of years, and he's very modest, very kind, good-hearted human being, very generous. And all these years, he never boasted about his poetry and a writer and so on. I know him as Padmesh friend. We go on holidays. We've been to Bangladesh a few times. We've traveled in other places. And I genuinely, honestly did not realize how good a writer he is and how good poet he is. Until, of course, now we know for his achievement, and rightly so. So I don't want to say too much because there's going to be Steve I'm going to hand over to, who's going to say a bit more about Dr. Gupta Padmesh to me. And then, of course, there are other speakers. So we have the distinguished guest tonight, the Lord Lieutenant in our presence, and other people who have traveled from quite far, London, Birmingham, and other places. And so there will be other people introducing as the evening proceeds. So without further ado, can I hand over to Steve Hartley to take over? Thank you very much.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to see you all here, and it's a tremendous welcome. Thank you, Aziz. It's a wonderful place, as you can see. It's going to be a wonderful evening. I'd just like to introduce, if we could begin with, the Lord Lieutenant of Oxfordshire, Mr. Tim Stevenson, who's going to come up and say a few words, and that will start with.
Steve, thank you, and Aziz, thank you very much indeed for inviting me to join in this very special occasion. My one sadness of the evening is that I have to go off to another dinner at about 7:05, and therefore I won't be able to enjoy Aziz's famed hospitality and wonderful food next door, but he tells me that it's going very well next door, so I shall have to find another opportunity to do so. Aziz seems to have disappeared at this point. Her Majesty's Lord Lieutenants get to do a very wide variety of different things. Every county has one of me, and we try to do what Her Majesty the Queen would do if she lived in our county and had nothing else to do with her time, but bring communities together to encourage a sense of cooperation across all different sectors of the community. One of the things that Her Majesty the Queen is particularly good at is recognising achievement and thanking people for the contribution that they make in a whole variety of different ways to their local communities. And this is just the sort of occasion that the Queen would like to be involved in order to acknowledge a particular and important achievement. And I know that if the Queen knew that I was here tonight doing this, which she doesn't, she would be very pleased that I, as Lord Lieutenant representing her, had been invited to join in. I have to say that amongst the range of things that I do, this is somewhat unusual. I do often have to present awards on behalf of the Queen, and this evening I'm here to join in this celebration of an award that's already been presented by the President of India to Padmesh. And I think it's an important occasion because in Oxford and in Oxfordshire we are privileged to have a very diverse community of individuals who have either come to England when they were mature or who've grown up in the UK, but whose cultural backgrounds are different. And that is something that I think it is really important to celebrate, because that diversity adds real colour to our lives, and maintaining the traditions of the different cultures who live in Oxfordshire at the same time as they integrate into the rest of our community is a difficult task, but a really important one. So against all that background, it's wonderful for me to be here to join in the applause, if you like, that I know all you will want to bring to acknowledging Padmesh's achievement in the honour that's been bestowed on him in being awarded the Padmabhushan Moturi Satyanarayan. I practiced that several times at home. I don't think I've still got it quite right. But anyway, the important thing is that it really is a very significant award. I think only about 16 times has it been awarded to individuals who have taken up their residence elsewhere in the world, and it's awarded for literary excellence and also for active promotion of the Hindi language. I failed, in thinking about what I was going to say this evening, to find translations of Padmesh's poems on the internet. He said simply to me, well, you should have just Googled it, and I thought I had Googled it. Anyway, I couldn't find any translations, but I gather that somebody else is here with translations, so you'll be able to hear some of his poetry a bit later on. I think the awards that have been made for promotion of the Hindi language outside of India have been made mainly to people living in countries other than the UK. I think this is only the second time that the award has been made to somebody living in the UK, and that makes it again a particularly special, I think, occasion. Padmesh, of course, as well as being a poet, has played a major part in the success of the Oxford Business College, and I think and hope that the promotion of the Oxford Business College will be helped by the fact of his award, and I gather from Steve that that is already underway. So Padmesh, it gives me great pleasure, on behalf of everybody here, to offer you sincere congratulations, and for, if you like, the enhancement that that gives to our community in Oxford. Thank you very much indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can hear me without the microphone. So, first of all, tonight is a celebration of diversity, one of the many great reasons that make Oxford such a special place on the international stage. I'm sure you will agree with me. Tonight is also a shining example of how one Oxford resident, through his passion for the written word, as an author, a poet, and his love of academia, has contributed towards making Oxford a much richer and more unique place by bringing the Hindi and English language together. That resident is Dr. Padmesh Gupta. As a poet, a writer, and an academician of international repute, he is director of Oxford Business College, founder president of the UK Hindi Samiti, and currently a patron of, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. He is an author of 3 poetry collections and an anthology of Hindi poets of the UK. Padmesh has been a convener of more than 4 international Hindi conferences, 20 international poetry symposiums, the 6th World Hindi Conference, hundreds of seminars, workshops and programmes related to the Indian language, culture and education in the UK. Padmesh is also a recipient of several international awards for his extraordinary contributions in language and literature. Recently, Padmesh, as the Lord Lieutenant just described, was conferred with a prestigious government award by the Government of India, which was presented by the President of India, Sri Pranab Mukherjee. Is that right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Padmesh's new poetry collection, Srivastava Couture, was recently released also in India at the Governor House in Lucknow by the Governor and the Deputy Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Padmesh has also recently been honoured by Baroness Sharila Feather at the House of Lords. This was a very auspicious occasion at an event where, along with a poetry recital, Padmesh was in conversation, I should say, or an audience with a renowned BBC journalist, Mr. Vijay Rana. That evening was recorded by the largest Hindi television station. If you look upon it as our News at 10, and an awful lot bigger in terms of audience, and was an 8-minute slot, which was in itself quite an honour to have that happen. So I would like to now introduce Dr. K.K. Srivastava. Dr. K.K., who has known Padmesh for many years and is a great admirer of his poems and writings. He is also not only a medical practitioner, but a mentor of Oxford Business College, and an accomplished writer and poet himself. With a passion for cricket, he has performed as a commentator covering live programmes for BBC and Sky TV. Dr. KK, can I invite you to come up here?
Thank you so much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is a matter of great pride and joy to introduce Dr. Padmesh Gupta tonight. You all know him, but not quite in the capacity that I'm going to introduce him to. Talking about his poetic personality, his poems have a universal appeal, and everyone can relate to it. You don't need a postgraduate degree in Hindi to understand and appreciate them. You probably need some knowledge of Hindi, if you don't know it, to understand. His poems are like poor man's cashew nuts, who are used to eating sort of peanuts. They taste like cashew nuts to poor men. Another remarkable feature of his poems is that there is no negativity, pessimism, or sadness. As a non-resident Indian, his thoughts, sentiments, and experiences would be very similar to most of the Indians living abroad, having lost out on quality family time for one. But where he stands out is that he has put them in a poetry form in the most eloquent, succinct, delicate, delicious, and exquisitely melodious way, which he has so beautifully acquired living in the city of Lucknow, exclusive city which is known for its culture, politeness, and good manners. His own personality could symbolically be compared to a diamond, being a multifaceted person that he is. The only difference is that, unlike the diamond, he has an extremely soft and gentle nature and is totally incapable of hurting, offending, or annoying anyone. Even if he would want to tell you to go to hell, he will do it in such a way that you'll actually look forward to the trip. His quick wit, spontaneity, devilish sense of humor, ability to make friends at the drop of a hat, and apparently cavalier attitude provide a beautiful cover for a sincere, genuine, and compassionate human being. A friend who, despite being caught in the hustle-bustle of modern world, where time doesn't wait for anyone, will ask you how you are and then wait for the answer. One outstanding feature of his endless repertoire of talent is his unparalleled ability to conduct the stage. Then he becomes a totally different person. A poet, a humorist, an ad-libber, an improviser, and above all, a superb entertainer that has to be seen to be believed. He is an eternal optimist. His glass is always half full, if not full. Night is always going to be followed by the day. And even in extreme adversity, he will always have a radiant smile to welcome you and greet you. It is with a sense of great pride and privilege that I call him my friend. During his literary career, he has been awarded and decorated innumerable number of times, and I sincerely wish that that will continue and many new cultural organizations will recognize his literary genius in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. KK. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand please for Dr. Gupta.
Thank you, Steve. Lord Lieutenant, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues. It is indeed a great pleasure for me, or rather a pleasant surprise, a very pleasant surprise, that city of Oxford is celebrating Hindi literature today. Oxford is known for its stronghold in English, with its rich culture, heritage, Oxford Dictionary, Oxford University Press, and so on. However, today, residents, media, scholars, community leaders have gathered here today to celebrate works and achievements of its resident Hindi writers. This shows diverse nature and intellect of this great city that has welcomed hundreds and thousands of students from around the globe and hence given top leaders, bureaucrats, entrepreneurs, prime ministers, presidents to the world, along with great writers and scholars in various fields. Oxford is one of the very few cities of the country which voted, where 70%, more than 70% of its population voted against Brexit. And this even today symbolizes that this city not only embraces diversity, but also celebrates success and accomplishments of diverse achievements and contributions. And this is not the first time I'm going through this stimulating journey of inspirations in the city. In fact, to a certain extent, I'm here because of my writings. It was in the year 2004 when for the first time I came to Oxford, and the purpose was to bid and buy Oxford Business College. It was then I met the founder and owner of this college, Mr. Stanley Hunter, who had established this business in 1985. And I asked him a very obvious and usual question: why are you selling this business? And he replied, he said, he has worked enough and wishes to pursue his career in creative writing. And then a very interesting conversation began. I said to him, I also write, but I write in Hindi. And he instantly said, what a contribution you are making to this country. I surprisingly asked him, I write in Hindi, how do you think I'm making contribution to this country, England? And he said, he then actually asked, whatever you write, does it relate to the background and experiences where you reside? I said, yes. And then he asked, whatever you write, your writings, are they read in India? I said, yes, now the Indian diaspora. And then he said, he made a very important comment. He said that this is a contribution you are making to this society. You are telling people around the world who do not read or cannot read English, but still you are the person who tell them about the life experiences and culture about this country, which no English writer or journalist can ever do. I thought to myself about this city, what an inspiration, what a positivity, what an encouragement it has offered. And since then, I am here in Oxford. With these words, I express my sincere gratitude to all of you who have taken out your precious time from your busy schedule and have come here to encourage and inspire me. My sincere thanks to Gerry Takamura and Steve Hartley for organizing this event. And my very special thanks to my very dear friend Aziz, who is hosting this event, and Aziz is known for his big heart in Oxford, and the only man I know in my life who actually looks for opportunities to make contribution to the society. God bless you. Before I conclude my speech, I would like to pay respect and loyalty to my native tongue, Hindi, by reciting few lines of my poems in Hindi, dedicating to some of my Hindi colleagues who are here, my mentor, Dr. Srivastava, who always has something new to say, Titiksha, who is always a support and has very kindly agreed to recite some English translations of my poems today, and some other Hindi colleagues, Surekha Chopla, Shashi Walia, who are Hindi teachers and are present here. This poem is about friends who support you during your tough time. पर्वत के जिस हिस्से पर मेरे पांव ठहर गए थे, तुम्हारे स्पर्श से पिघलकर वह समंदर हो गया। पर्वत के जिस हिस्से पर मेरे पांव ठहर गए थे, तुम्हारे स्पर्श से पिघलकर वह समंदर हो गया, और मैं ग्लेशियर होने से बच गया। Thank you very much. धन्यवाद।
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you Titiksha Shah, who will read a translated version of Padmesh's original Hindi poems. Titiksha is a fashion designer by profession and a director and member of the senior management team at Oxford Business College. As a poetess, radio and television presenter, she has the command of many languages. She is also an entrepreneur in her own right and was recently invited by NatWest to talk at the Women in Business Awards at Surrey Business School. I'm not sure if I should mention that. Titiksha, I'd like to come on. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, for those kind words. It's my honor and pleasure to recite some of his translations of poems that I've done. Okay, maybe. This is from his recently launched Hindi book called Pravasi Putra. He's known, initially when he started writing, he was really known for his short poems like the one he recited earlier, which are 4-liners, or the same concept of an haiku. So I will read one of those, and of course, as he's known for writing issue-based things that he sees around him. So I will read 2 of the other poems which are on the same vein. The War. No, I don't blow the bugle. No, I don't blow the bugle to win the war. Instead, I use the flute of a charmer to win them. Wars aren't won by the skills and might of arms and artillery anymore. They are won by the art of charming the snakes and keeping them up your sleeves. This is his way that he wins his enemies, obviously. One of his known poems is called The Berlin War. A few years ago, Dr. G saw a piece lying forlorn, pushed in a corner in his friend's conservatory, and he noticed it had a rusty nail and some bullet wounds, and I guess his mind raced through the passage of time. A stone from the broken Berlin Wall. A stone from the broken Berlin Wall whispered in anguish last night. Don't look at me with such hatred. Don't look at me with such hatred. You pounded and thrashed me. You hammered and cemented me, made me into a wall. Called me the Iron Curtain. My wounds are the blemish of history. I was prepared to bear your razor-edged pen, and you could have carved me as Jesus too. And the final poem is called Brexit, a more recent event. The poem needs no explanation as to how, where and why it was born or conceived. birds chirping lacked their usual vigor. The summer sun had donned a coat of cloud. When I woke up this morning, I found my hanging map of Europe wounded. As if the sparrow on my window had its feathers clipped. He wasn't allowed to fly over the sea anymore. My global collection of fishes, fearful and despairing, lurking and shying away, hiding in the corner of an aquarium. When I woke up this morning, I felt as if my English mother was carrying me in her arms away from my French father's home. My mother never taught nor thought multicultural neighbors would do any harm. Ever since I was a child, I've played with colorful butterflies with varied coats. Now, I'm forced to choose which ones are mine and which are not. When I woke up this morning, my dream was broken. Nests in the trees of my garden were broken. Once radiant petals had blown away, all the trust I had on my roof were broken, and history of embracing the global world was broken. Today is 24th June 2016. When I woke up in my Oxford home, I saw the wind full of ego, the leaves trembling. I covered my face and went back to sleep. Hoping against hope that when my eyes opened again, I'd see the clock's hands move backwards. But the time had changed forward. But when the Game of Thrones is finished, love remains. The tune may change, music may change, but the song remains. Whoever loses or wins the race, friends remain. Whatever has changed, when I open my eyes again, I hope that love remains, the song remains, our friends remain. Thank you.
Thank you, Titiksha. That was really quite exceptional. I think you'll agree. Very good indeed. Thank you very much. I'd like to take this opportunity now to invite Gerry Takamura, Principal of Oxford Business College, to come up and pose a vote of thanks.
So thank you very much to all of you for joining us this felicitation party in honour of Dr. Gupta. I would like to extend my thanks to our host, Mr. Aziz. Thank you very much, Mr. Aziz. As well as to all the teachers and staff who have, from Oxford Business College, who have come this evening to celebrate Dr. Gupta's recent awards for his poetry and literature. While no expert in Hindi poetry, as Dr. Gupta and Titiksha know very well, I had the privilege of attending a few weeks ago a wonderful event to celebrate Dr. Gupta's success at the House of Lords, which was hosted by Baroness Flather. It very much brought home to me that while Dr. Gupta heads up a busy college in the centre of Oxford, he inhabits another world as a writer of international repute. Well known for his poetry collections and much lauded for this. At the end of the event at the House of Lords, I wanted to congratulate him, but he was completely surrounded by audience and guests, all wanting to speak to him and have him sign books and take photos together. I realised then that I had not appreciated fully what remarkable talents he has, and all done while the demands of staff and students in his daily life take much of his time. Recently, Dr. Gupta was conferred with the Literary Award by the President of India. Much of the recent accolade and media coverage has been due to this, as well as his new poetry collection, Pravasi Putra.
Wow, well said.
Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you, Chief. I had a good teacher today. And that means, for those of us who are not experts in the Hindi language, the son of immigrant son, which has been received with great reviews in the international media. I hope you will join me in saying congratulations to Dr. Gupta. We are all extremely proud of your talents and accomplishments, and looking forward to more poems and awards, college time permitting. Bahut, bahut, badai, Dr. Gupta.
Well, thank you very much, Gerry, and ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm right in saying, enjoy yourselves.
And party starts.
The party starts. Thank you very much.
When Aziz moved in around the corner. But tonight has been something really, really special as far as I'm concerned. I think poetry is something that it's very difficult to define what poetry is about, but it's something that touches your very inside. It's something that releases in you a whole range of emotions. And the people who write poetry are those who understand those emotions and those who are actually able to engage with you at that emotional level. And I have to say tonight, when I listened to the translation of of those words, I just felt like crying. And the reason I felt like crying, and the reason inside me I'm still crying probably, is because of Brexit. I was one of those people who voted to remain, and I'm one of those people who came from Ireland to this country, not so far away as many people here travelled to get here, and as many people in this country travelled. But I was one of those people that not just travelled from Ireland, but my ancestors travelled from France, because my heritage is Huguenot. And to think that we can divide ourselves up in terms of Brexit and in terms of Europe makes me still feel ill.
Yeah.
I don't understand how we can do that. For me, I'm not just a citizen of Ireland or a citizen of Great Britain or a citizen of Europe. I'm a citizen of the world. And I'm a citizen, I'm a person, I'm a human being who actually relates to the human beings around this world, contribute to make all of our lives better, to make humanity what it is today. And I feel desperate sometimes that maybe we're tearing it apart. We've just seen what's happened in Germany. So your poetry, if it does anything, it should be about bringing human beings together at that spiritual level where we can all understand each other. So thank you so much for writing it.
Well done. I forgot. Annalise sent her apologies, and I forgot to mention that. I'm so sorry. There is a small thing happening in Brighton about Labour Party. I'm sure you're aware of.
But I was Cinderella. I didn't go to the ball.
So her assistant rang me yesterday and said she couldn't get away, although they finished it, but they were going to try to come early, but she couldn't make it today. So she sends her apology. It's our new MP. In fact, she's probably one of the earliest MP who's got into the shadow cabinet so quickly, right? Within days. Very talented young lady. I think there's a lot of potential. Maybe we can even start dreaming about potential very high within the Labour Party. She was a European Parliament, Member of Parliament, and this time she increased the majority. Andrew Smith was such a popular MP, yet she increased the majority, or doubled it or something, didn't she? Ridiculous something. So very popular, look out for her. Annalise, our MP, and she sends her apology, otherwise she would have been here.
But Aziz, a special thank you from all of us at Exeter Business College. I cannot tell you what an amazing space and meal both you hostess, the gorgeous Rahman and both of you done. You cannot fault it in any which way, Aziz, and I'm really thank you for being a constant support with OBC.
What makes the evening is the people that who are here.
Oh, thank you. Lovely.
Without you, it wouldn't be the same atmosphere or the quality of the evening. So
and Royston, really, you know what? Royston, I saw tears in your eyes as well. Come on.
Well, it's lovely to see everybody here this evening. My name is Paul Gustafson, and Colin Dexter, of course, who wrote Inspector Morse, was my great friend over a 40-year period, and of course we lost Colin not so long ago. Yeah. He was a marvellous man, wonderful man, and I know that if Colin were here this evening, and I know he would have been here this evening, he would have been very touched by Padmesh's poems. I know I was touched, I was crying actually. And it is wonderful for me to be here. I met Padmesh 6 months ago and gave him some of my children's books. He fell in love with them. And what I would like Padmesh to do is write some poems for the children of India, because I think the children are our future. And I think we've got to reach these children with these messages. And the messages which Padmesh sent out in his poems, I think are very important. So Padmesh, I'm going to throw down the gauntlet. What I'd like you to do is reach the children with some poems for children and the children of India. And it's wonderful to be here this evening. It's wonderful to see everybody. Thank you so much.
And Paul, you said to me something earlier this evening. I'd love you to, since all our staff is here from OBC, you said you would like to come and give a speech for the students at OBC.
I think it's important. I mean, I've struggled not just as an author, but as a business person. We desperately want to keep my children's books over here and the film over here. I know that eventually, of course, some of Padmesh's poems may be turned into maybe animation or even film. And the film, of course, with these poems or linked with the poems, really does bring the whole thing to life.